All right. Good evening, people who are joining. Welcome to yet another session. Today's is about how you can build a career in Gen AI and ML. And we're going to be introducing you to a program called Professional Certificate Course in Gen AI and ML in collaboration with E and ICT Academy, IIT Kanpur. Okay, so if you guys are watching us on YouTube or Zoom, just give us a hi on the chat and also let me know your name and the city you're from. My name is Aparna and I'm going to be your host for today. We have two expert speakers today. I'm going to be introducing them to you very shortly. Right? Okay, great. So we've already...
I'm just waiting for Dr. Swendru. We can start off in the meantime.
Sure, Srinivas. Okay, Mukesh, welcome. Diksha has joined from Karnataka. Yes, we are aware, Palak. If you're joining us on YouTube, please leave us a comment on the live chat. Sakshi, welcome, joining from Maharashtra. Leave your city. Riri, you're from Philippines. Okay, good to have you. Tanya, you're from Kolkata. Okay, again, good to have you as well. We have people from all parts of India today. I am Aparna. I am joining from Bangalore. Let us know where you're joining from and also your name, because we can't read your name from the email ID that you've given us. Okay. Yes, Purti, hi, good evening. Prakash, good evening. Priya, welcome. Priyanka. And people on YouTube also, quickly interact with us. Let us know you are here.
Hi, sorry.
Dr. Shwendu, we're just getting started. I'm just...
Welcome, sir.
Welcome to all, and thank you all. We are just now 4 of us here.
No, there are 3 of us. Aparna is going to be the host for us.
Okay.
And we have almost, I think, 64 participants.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
that's
And they're
good.
all introducing themselves right now on the chat. So if you could introduce yourselves on the chat very quickly so that we can get started. My name is Aparna. I'm going to be your host. We have 2 expert speakers today, and you're going to understand how you can build your career in Gen AI and ML. Yeah, okay. Hi, Pranshu from Uttar Pradesh, right? Vaishnavi from Nanded. Okay, amazing. Okay, quickly do your introductions, guys. Okay, people on YouTube, you guys need to catch up. Remember, we're streaming on YouTube as well. So if you have questions or anything to share, make sure you put your question on the live chat on YouTube. And if you're joining us on Zoom, use the chat only for introductions or any other questions or interactions that we ask you to do. But if you have questions, please do that and please put them on the Q&A box. Okay, so while all of you are introducing yourselves, I'll also take you through what we're going to do today. Today's agenda is for us to understand how you can build your career from scratch in the field of Gen AI and ML. And remember, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A box. Now, both of our speakers are going to be interacting and helping you understand about this course called Professional Certificate Course in Gen AI and ML, and how this course can set you up for your career. So also remember that this session is being recorded. So let's say you missed something, you had network issues or had something to address, just remember that you will receive an email along with the recording link and a webinar certificate. Now the certificate looks something like this, but for this we'll need your full name, and that we'll collect towards the end of the session. Yeah. And let's say you didn't get your certificate, something happened, and then you couldn't submit your name, there's no problem. Just reach out on webinars@simplilearn.net after the session is done if you didn't receive your certificate. Yeah. Great to see your introductions, people on YouTube and Zoom. Ashwini, good evening. Aishwarya, you're joining from Odisha. Nice. Okay, great. Amazing. So now that we have set the ground rules and you've understood what you should do, okay, remember that the chat is for interactions with the expert speakers or with us. So if you have anything to say, please use the chat productively. Do not try to indulge in discussions that are going to be distracting other learners, okay? Make sure your discussions are relevant to what you're going to be learning. And if you have questions for people who are just joining in, I'm just repeating what I'm saying because you might have missed this. Please put your questions in the Q&A box, and that is separate from the chat box. Okay, right? So let me quickly introduce you to our two speakers. We have Srinivas and we have Dr. Shuvendu, who's a professor at IIT Kanpur. I'm just going to be introducing them to you very quickly, and they will also, kind of present themselves to you, and then we'll get started with the session. Yeah. So Dr. Shuvendu is the assistant professor of Department of Management Sciences, IIT Kanpur. He is an expert in emerging technologies. AI, of course, you all know how GenAI is an emerging technology. So he's an expert here, and he is the right person for you to help you understand how you can build your career. Right. So he's also an AI and supply chain specialist. He also explores how tech can impact organizational efficiency. So Dr. Shuvendu, if you can quickly introduce yourself to our learners.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the generous introduction. Anyway, I think more or less it is said, expert is a too big word, too loaded word. I'm still learning because things are changing way much more faster than one can learn. I do have research in the areas of AI, predominantly in the areas of operations management, supply chain management, and obviously it includes financial management. I do have research related to emerging trends, for example, IIoT, social media analytics, big data analytics, and those areas. Some of the areas where I'm still yet to explore or fully exploit is that fintech, which is currently going on, also doing some work on augmented reality and the related stuff. So broadly, I prefer to keep moving things, and we'll try to give or kind of help you to get some of the doubts cleared. Obviously, 1 hour, I don't think none of us here will be able to commit that we'll be able to respond or all the queries. I will stop it here. Over to you, Aparna.
Yes, thank you so much. We have Arks Srinivas, who is also the CEO of IITK Foundation for Advanced Consulting Education, or IFACET. And so he's also an alumnus of IIM Calcutta, and he's a research scholar at IIT Kanpur. Now he's got 2 decades of experience. 2 decades of experience in education and technology, so which means he has all the information about your upcoming careers, all the careers that are trending. So again, over to you, Aks, for quickly introducing yourselves.
Thanks, Aparna. More than introducing myself, what I'm going to do is introduce all the participants today. And I think quite a lot of them on a Wednesday evening have come in to make them understand how the EICT Academy in IIT Kanpur and the various certification courses that we do, apart from, obviously everybody knows that getting into a BTech or an MTech or a PhD in an IIT is an amazing thing to do, but more often than not, some of us don't go there. But not to lose out on the certification, B, the learning that you can get. One of the things that the IITs have done, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has done, the Government of India has done, is to bring the IITs to the students, specifically professionals, more often than not, so that you kind of do a lot of upskilling. And I have been in that kind of forefront for the last 22 years, where I have been training students for various exams, online, offline, utilizing technology. And I hope the same expertise can be used for you guys as we go along. Aparna.
Thank you. So I'm just going to ask, this is for all of us to understand our learners better. So I'm just going to understand how many years of work experience these learners carry. And for this, for people on YouTube, you could just answer this question on the live chat. And for people on Zoom, I am going to be launching this poll, which will be there on your screens. So just remember, if you're a student, and just answer, currently studying. If you have experience, just accordingly answer how many ever years of experience you carry. This is for our experts to know you better and also answer your questions more
I was
specifically.
just about to ask whether should we
Yeah.
also give the poll.
No, not really, because
I
this
saw
is
that
for
host and panelist can't vote, it says.
no, it's for the host and panelists to understand the learners better,
Correct.
just the learner profile better, because you can accordingly tweak what you say. Of course,
Sure.
there are slides to help,
Mm,
but
sure.
it's just for us to understand them a little
That's a
better.
very important
Most
thing.
of them are students, from what I see. I'm going to be keeping the poll live for some more time.
If we have to answer, I would prefer currently studying.
All of us are
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree with you, sir. Completely.
Yeah, right. So, 63% of people are students. I mean, I'm assuming that's not going
Can
to
you
change.
show me the
Yeah,
final?
I'm just going to end the poll and also share the results. Here you go. If you can
Okay.
see.
Yes, we can see.
Yes. So,
Interesting. None between 3 to 5.
none between 3 to 5. Few who have, very little years of experience. Most of them are students, 63%.
No, that's about 102 students. Only
Yes.
64 have given the poll, but that's okay.
Yes.
I think
Yeah, we just kept
broad
it.
percentages are fine.
Yes, and also some people are responding on the chat. More than 5, 6 people, I think, have said they're students. So yeah, they're still starting out and they're still trying to understand what they should do, in their career. So maybe this session will help them get that clarity, and specifically on Gen AI and ML. But I think before we get to that, I would leave it to the two of you to help people understand the mission of ENICT Academy at IIT Kanpur.
Thank you so much, Aparna. In fact, let me take this very specifically. While whatever is there on the screen is one thing, electronics and ICT academies have started or have taken genesis way back in 2015 by the government of India. The basic idea was, I'm sure all of you have heard this Digital India as a mission for Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of us of India. Having said that, the idea and the entire progress has happened over the last 9 years. 2015, 2016, this idea was conceived. 7 academies, 3 IITs, 3 NITs, and 1 IIIT DM, Jabalpur, were shortlisted for being the E and ICT academies. Now, the reason why we are calling it E and ICT academies, originally at least, originally meaning when it started as phase 1, was to develop or upskill, maybe reskill, upskill for all faculty members, as well as all professionals who are already in the industry, and more importantly, for current students who can immediately improve their skills, because the curriculum that is there in colleges is a little more outdated than what the technology is changing. So this E&ICT Academy was set up or were set up to improve these emerging technology skills in all kinds of people, whether students, professionals, or even faculty members across the board. Over a period of time, it has got transformed not only into emerging technologies, but also into other aspects of other domains, including management, arts, sciences, and even today, sustainability in that sense. IIT Kanpur has been in the forefront and probably the only institute which is mandated by the ministry to do it completely online too. How do we do that? We kind of collaborate, we partner for implementation with various tech organizations like Simplilearn, for example, right now, where very curated specific courses which are useful for both students and professionals alike, which can kind of take them to the next level of learning and probably in their career growth, is what we offer through the platform called E&ICT Academy. And that's where we are looking at it. So we have very, very specific programs. With Simplilearn itself, we do AI, machine learning, cloud computing, data science kind of things. We also have specific programs on blockchain, cybersecurity. We have partnered with institutes which very specifically catered to electric vehicles, EV batteries, and other areas. I mean, you name it. We are also looking at soft skills. And Professor Suvendu here is an expert not only in MIS but also takes care of cyber security and not only in AI ML but also in cyber security. And through him, we also kind of offer a lot of other programs. The basic logic of this entire thing is to make sure that students, industry, and academia, all of them kind of work together to kind of utilize resources available to develop India or make India a digital India. That's the whole logic of E&ICT Academy at IIT Kanpur, at least. And through an iFacet, she would have, Aparna has given you that I am a CEO of iFacet. iFacet is a Section 8 company which has been given the entrusted with the task of taking forward the E&ICT Academy's charter as such. That's what we try to do. Okay, Aparna.
Right. Thank you so much for helping the learners understand what EA and ICT really stands for. So let's just understand now, and I'm going to just shift gears and shift focus on Dr. Shuvendu here. So if we can help us understand what kind of career paths someone can choose, someone who's starting out, like you see, most of them here are students. So what kind of careers should these people be choosing, and how they should tweak their upskilling journey for this?
Okay. First of all, thanks for the question. It's a very valid question. I think almost all the people across, at least in that I interact with, have this doubt. I would like to step back and maybe I'll excuse me for that. So the way data analytics is evolving is similar to something which has happened to computer science back in 30 years. Okay. So when computer science was emerging, there was a single person who was doing the database design, webfront design, who was interacting, creating server scripts and everything, and also testing. And then later on, every organization started digitizing or computerizing their processes, the data and everything else. Then the roles emerged: database engineer, database administrator, network administrator, and all these things. So while a computer scientist or a computer science engineer has to learn all of them, but they have to create a specialized knowledge about each of those things. So at someone who is not a computer scientist in today's date, all seem to be same. So something very similar is happening to AI, data science, and the business analytics world. So I remember back around 15 years back when I was working with a corporate, the whole idea of emerging business accelerators was coming into the picture, and we used to talk it as a SMAC platform, social mobility analytics and cloud platform. Okay. And like every organization has the doubt how they can leverage the SMAC platform. In the 15 years, the SMAC has gone. Now we're talking about only one component, which is the analytics. And then analytics has started seeing that it is branching out. It is getting specializing every year. It is a new specialization coming. So point here being is that the changes are happening very fast, and there are plenty of roles that are opening up constantly. The demand is so high that every single organization is looking for how they can encash the data they are sitting with. Because now we're talking about digital transformation. Digital transformation is currently in action. And as Arx has mentioned, it is being driven from top down. So it is the Prime Minister's agenda to drive this entire things so that every single entity, irrespective of whatever domain they are, it's a healthcare, insurance, banking, every single entity is now digitally aware. So with that background, what is happening in the AIML, the demand is increasing. Whether it doesn't matter, whatever is the role or the designation it is saying, or whatever the domain we are talking about, be it transportation, be it healthcare, to finance, normal banking, and even in retail. So every space there is a need for professionals, or need for even the freshers entrants who understand the nitty-gritties of data, who can sit with the data, play with the data, create models and create insights, which later on the subsequent organization can encash. It is coming out with a different designation, we will see. So what is happening? New roles like AI ethicist, ML engineer, data strategist, etc. are gaining prominence. Different organizations is naming it in a different way based on their requirement. They have a very certain overlaps among the roles, but then they have certain specialized requirement. Like an ML engineer might not needing to do data strategy. Again, a data strategist might not need to do the engineering part of it. We are in a need of a lot of hybrid skill sets. That means in one hand, you need to have a domain understanding, because from the data, you are learning about the domain, and from your learning, you are creating business insights, which is the value. Otherwise, the data is actually very dull, raw component of the business. And because it has been constantly changing, like 3 years back, GPT was not there. And now, like, we're talking about GPT, all of us. Every single layman is in the process of using GPT. And we'll have to remember that we can upskill faster, or otherwise we are going to obsolete. Okay. And that is precisely upskilling for a scale of India is just not possible of 20 IITs and all those things. So now the question that comes, which is next year, what are the key skills required in order to gain that expertise? And it is a plenty, it's a plethora of skills. I don't think one of us can do it in 6 months of courses, but we can try to get it as fast. Some of them. We talk about the knowledge about generative AI, LLM, large language models. Then there are computer visions. Prompt engineering is another important area. AI strategies consulting is a little bit of higher end of kind of skill sets. You just cannot do that to start with. There are skill sets like causal inferences, which is required for BI engineering. There are some things like deep engineering, which is required for AI scientists. Then we talk about within ML, for example, machine learning domain, we talk about ML ops. So we have an ML engineer and ML ops. We have a data engineer. Then big data itself is coming out. That is gaining its own importance along with analytics. We are talking about cloud and how analytics can work on the cloud, distributed computing, forecasting. And then certainly a trend that I am seeing is that industry 4.0, or right now we're talking about, in fact, industry 5.0, which is bringing IIoT, industrial Internet of Things, which is creating a different challenge that now data is coming out and every entity is every entity in the system has a processing capability. So the skill sets are like something which is now not possible for one person to learn only through degree or one degree. It has to be multiple certificates, series after series certificates overlapped with certain common component and then overlapped with certain new components. So I think this is where the role of IFA set comes into very prominent role. And obviously, we should look into it. So for our freshers, don't get, my suggestion will be just don't get confused, because you will hear new terms like every alternate days. Sit with you, everything they are connected, but every single terminology which is in the market coming up with its own value. Pick one of those characteristics or those skill sets that you can understand and align with, get knowledge about that, and as you are getting the knowledge and as you work, you will pick the rest of the things. So I will say that this is a huge opportunities for most of us, and in fact this, if I'm not wrong, given that a time will come when any new job by default you need to understand AI/ML. So there was a time when new jobs by default does not require computer knowledge. Now nobody asks you, do you know computer or not? So it is given that you will know computer. So that is your hygiene factor. I think a time will come, and not far from as we are talking, where any job, even a public sector low-level job, they would expect that you need to have certain amount of understanding about the data, certain amount of understanding of the AI/ML. So I think that's a huge challenge. So we should try to get as much as we learn, and we will learn the rest of the things. So if you can move into the next slide, there are defined types of profiles. Sorry, Aparna, I think the main thing which I really wanted to say is that it is challenging to learn, but I think there is some point to start from your conventional learning. And one of the best platforms are that you utilize your spare time and focused spare time to learn as much as you can pick from the experts that are talking. It may be experts from the industry, it may be experts from the academics, it may be expert from in between somewhere. Because a lot of research is happening in the academics world, also a lot of changes are happening in the industry. Industry is more application oriented, research is more of a futuristic oriented. So a combination of those two is the best thing that a student can pick. And the more and more you listen from the experts, the more and more you will get to create an intuitive understanding of every single aspect. Okay. So I think, yeah, that's more or less in terms of career paths, Aparna. I mean, if I can just add on to what I was saying is that now the things that are currently reflected in the systems are some of those examples, some of the things which are now prominent. Maybe down the line, 6 months, if you are having the same webinar, we will have 10 more career paths on this list or 15 more career paths on this list. Now, this sounds very similar. Exactly, that is what is happening with all of us with our very basic core understanding about the AIML, but they have subtle differences. For example, we talk about artificial intelligence. Many of us are very naive to understand what are the difference between AI and ML, okay, or similarities. So just for the AI, there are roles like AI researcher. You just can do or create an algorithm. Someone who's a hardcore coder or like to code can work on a current algorithm and develop it, or can create a total new algorithm. So that's the job of a researcher. He doesn't even bother about leveraging that algorithm to the actual business, which is then again done by the AI developer who takes that output of a researcher, sees on which context where he can fit that new algorithm and looks into the development process. It is exactly same as across the board. For example, you talk about machine learning, you have an ML engineer, and then you have an ML ops. So ML engineer will do the learning process, create the model and create the test set, data set and everything else. And then ML ops engineer will take it and put that entire model into the business context. Okay. Similarly, like data science, what is happening in the data science is that you have a data scientist and then you have a decision scientist. People are confused, like what is the data scientist will do and what a decision scientist will do. Data scientist will deal with the technical aspects of the data, where to store, how to store, where database, how much amount of data, where should be the categorization of the data, what are the cleaning processes that data has to do, the feature engineering and all these things. Whereas a decision scientist is a more domain centric. He will use the data prepared by the data scientist in the business context to create a business decisions or business insights. So decision scientist has to have a deep understanding of the domains. So essentially, all these roles are dedicated roles are being created. So you can be part of anything else. And that's precisely one question I get in every webinar. I know coding, but I don't know the domain. Can I be a AI engineer? Or can I be a data scientist? Oh, yes, you can. So that's precisely what I was saying, that we need a domain understanding. We need a data understanding. We need someone who can code. We need someone who understands mathematics and statistics. There is a scope for everyone and there is a career track for everyone. And you can switch across the career track if you can pick the differences between pure job role, for example, a mathematician's role, along with certain domains, which will happen over the time. So if you have one set of lines of expertise, you can pick the rest and you will be one of those different types of roles which are there. So my point is that don't stop just because you don't know coding. You remember there is another person on the same class who knows coding, but doesn't know anything about the financial setup or banking or insurance business. So irrespective of whether you know part of it, a large part of it, or none of that, you need to know it to keep you contemporary, to be on the race. And the opportunities are plethora, the roles are bifurcating, and every bifurcation requires a new set of people. New demands are creating. Demand supply mismatch is so huge that at least in the next decade, it might not be fulfilled. So I will stop here. Aparna, sorry, I'm possibly speaking too much,
No, no,
but yeah.
it's totally okay. So because we're talking about career paths, before we head on to understanding about this course, just a couple of questions that, I'm just going to take just two questions here.
Sure.
One of our learners, I think Manish, he is a BCA fresher and he wants to understand how he can pursue his career in AI and ML. And then a similar learner, she is, I think, a maths teacher and then she wants to transition to a data science career job. And one more learner who is confused between data analytics and business analytics. So if you could just give us an all-encompassing answering these
Okay.
questions.
Okay, I think some of the answers I have already touched upon during when I was talking about the career paths. Say, for example, someone who is a BCA with the presumption that he has got basic understanding about the coding, basic understanding about the scripting language, uh, is the first thing that he can be one of the developer, right? Like a researcher will give you the model and you convert it to the computer readable language, AI developer. He has to, from AI developer, starting AI developer, if he wants to go into the higher management role, he really have to understand the domain much more deeper and all these things. So for him, he has to know is that if I give you a mathematical model, how can I code it into the computer understandable language? So that could be one career path. I'm just giving an example, and
Got
everything
it.
is possibilities.
Yeah.
Similarly, if I look into someone who is a maths teacher, he knows a lot about the deterministic, probabilistic, or statistical models. Okay. Now, statistical models were, as of date, were mostly on the paper, right? We have a variables X and Y and everything. And now when I talk about AI, ML, and in the data science, the dimensions of a data are a variable. So once the mathematicians can be in the class and see that I'm basically using the same mathematical model to the real variables, which are variables of the data. He can be an AI researcher. He can create existing or he can leverage existing mathematical or statistical models to create a new algorithm totally.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
which might not be there. I'm saying the best possible ways. How they can start is obviously they need to now learn the basics, get into the job market, and they can leverage their core competencies to move up into the value chain. Uh, yeah.
Um,
Uh, hmm. There was another question, I think the third question, which I'm forgetting, which I'm missing. What is the differences? What was the two terminologies?
Data analytics and business analytics.
Okay. Uh, well, it's a very compelling question. So typically when it came initially, I'll say 10 years back, we were all talking about business analytics. Now, when you talk about data analytics, we talk about what insights you're getting from the data. Uh, and when you leverage that insights in the business context, that comes from your business analytics part. So you can be a data analytics without much worrying about what is a business. I'll give you a simple example. Regression is a very simple mathematical model. You can use the regressions to create that this kind of parameter values when it comes. It means that variable X and variable Y are related with this amount. If you put that regression setup into a variable of any business, say for example, loan default probability of a bank, then we are talking about that the variable, say for example, personal traits means an individual's personality impacts the loan default rate to that amount. So the whole meaning of the parameter changes from business to business. So that's where the business analyst comes into the picture.
Yes.
We'll take the same thing or the same model and try to explain. So that's how I understand. If you read 15 different pages in the Google, you'll see 15,000 different descriptions. And again, some company might say for me, business analyst, data analyst is the same because they don't have separate payroll for these two names. Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's it from my side.
Got it. Thank you so much, Dr. Shuvendu. I'm just going to now switch the focus on the audience, and we want to understand as to with all that you saw about how, I mean, the career paths that are there, the skills that you need to develop, and what's exactly trending in the field of Gen AI and ML. You tell us as to what is stopping you from becoming the next Gen AI and ML expert, right? So your answer can be anything. Again, people on YouTube, please choose the right answer and let us know on the live chat. But here you go. I'm just launching the poll once again. So yeah, what's stopping you from becoming a Gen AI and ML expert? Launch that poll. Please answer this question again, and I will be sharing it with the speakers after you are done answering. Again, please do not put it on the chat. Please use the poll. Okay, the one that's showing up on your screen. Yeah. So another 30 seconds. Okay, most of you saying you don't have practical exposure. Some of you say that you don't have access to a comprehensive curriculum. Some of you feel it's hard to learn. Very few of you actually feel that your work schedule won't allow. Right. Okay. Okay, if you guys can make it quick because we need to proceed ahead and show this to our speakers so that they can answer this for you. Yeah, very quickly, we'll keep it live for the next 10 seconds. Okay, great. I think I will end the poll right now and share the results. So Dr. Shuvendu and Arks, you will be able to see these results on your screen. Most of them feel that they don't have practical exposure that they need to become this particular expert, right? So that is where I think upskilling comes into picture, and that is where this particular course called the Professional Certificate Course in Generative AI and ML will help you bridge that gap. Okay, now this course is offering you a mixture of having your work schedule or your study schedule fit into an in-depth learning curriculum. So you also get a curriculum that's comprehensive. You also learn with the help of projects, with the help of tools. You also get that practical exposure you need, but at the same time it is an in-depth course, right? So you spend about 11 months in the course, but all you need to invest is 5 to 10 hours in a week, right? So some highlights of this course, along with the comprehensive curriculum that is designed by ENICT Academy and IIT Kanpur, you get hands-on projects, case studies, virtual classrooms, I mean, online live classrooms where you actually get to learn from trainers and professors from IIT Kanpur. And also the best part is that it is flexible enough to fit into your lifestyle, right? Another thing is that most of you here are students, so you might be wondering if this course is going to, you are eligible for applying to this course. Not really the case. All you need is some fundamental understanding of mathematics and programming concepts, and some understanding of statistics will help here, but that's not really necessary because you're going to learn it as a part of the course. And of course, you need to have a bachelor's degree. So once you've completed your degree, if you feel the need to upskill and choose a career as an ML engineer or a Gen AI engineer, this is the course for you, right? So you need to have a bachelor's degree with a certain aggregate percentage of marks. Preferably, some work experience helps because your case studies and the projects that you do will make more sense if you have the work experience. But again, that's just recommended, it's not a mandate. Okay, so if if you could help people understand this curriculum, or Dr. Shuvendu or Aks, one of you could help understand what this curriculum exactly has and how it'll help them bridge that gap that they were talking about.
No, again, thank you. Dr. Shivendu has given a very, very broad overview of what kind of skills are required as one progresses in their careers, even starting off from their degrees. But more importantly, these technologies, these new areas are continuously, constantly changing. But fundamentals do not change. I think that is one of the first things that one has to understand. What we used to call the trend analysis is being called something else today at the end of the day. Regression is still used in machine learning. So understanding and a fundamental understanding of basic mathematics, basic statistics, which probably some of us have done it in as early as 10th standard or 11th and 12th, if those of you have taken mathematics, will be more than sufficient. You don't need to be a mathematician for it, but you need to have some fundamental understanding of basic arithmetic, basic statistics, maybe probability, but it's not an easy thing.
Got it.
Yes. One thing I believe is probability is the most confused subject for people who actually want to get marks. But if you understand the logic of it, in fact, everything that you want to do, data decisions that you need to do is completely probability based. So what any course that we are trying to design, which has to do with AI or ML or GenAI, is to kind of start with the fundamentals. There will be fundamentals on data sciences, fundamentals on basic coding. Python is one of the most often used languages for machine learning. So we will take you through those things. Other things on people would have heard of deep learning. But again, one word which I will probably have to bring in Dr. Suvendu on this is that what is the difference between AI and Gen AI? And how is Gen AI going to be different? Everybody, in fact, I remember now, November 2023, when ChatGPT came into the forum, that's when everybody started looking at what is AI, what is ChatGPT, what ChatGPT 4, etc. kind of things. Few months back, everything has gone into Gen AI.
Yeah.
Is it really Gen AI? What exactly is it Gen AI? Is there so much to learn, or is it another name given to make life easier for you to perform larger things? Like Sir was talking about very interestingly about 30 years back, if I can say, 1990s, when things became computerized. If you knew how to work on a computer, it became, you used to get jobs. A data entry operator was a big, nice job because you knew how to work not on a typewriter, but on a computer kind of things. But today, and I think no business, no job actually, even a clerk's job, any kind of job, you need to know basics of computers. You need to know what is MS Office. You need to know how to work on absolute basics of an Excel or a Word or at least, emails kind of things. Similarly, this AI machine learning as a tools that you will learn or the applications of AI are going to be ubiquitous, meaning it's going to be there every area, every domain, every job that you do. And understanding that will become very, very important. So if I can probably, Dr. Shendu, if you can just give us a very, very quick idea of what are these people talking about AI and Gen AI and how are these two different and what you expect it's going to be in the future. That will be kind of giving them a better idea.
Okay. Okay. So, to be specific, when you talk about artificial intelligence, it's basically two terms, artificial and intelligence. So AI is trying to mimic the way human brain works. Okay. So for example, when I look into certain picture, I say it's a squared picture. So that's precisely what computer is trying to learn. So artificial intelligence. Now, what is a generative AI? Is it totally new? No. Its architecture is different, scale is different. So it can now extend to more and more information. It can extend to different types of information. It is interactive. AI typical models are not interactive. So now ChatGPT is voice enabled. So it can understand your voice because it has got all the pre-trained systems of natural language processing, which is pre-built. So ChatGPT would not have been a reality unless the processing engine has evolved, processing engine has been emerged. So it is basically, when I talk about ChatGPT, I am basically talking about processing capability with millions of pre-trained information existing. And then as more people are asking questions, ChatGPT is exploring all the knowledge being created and it is upgrading itself, all these things. But can you understand ChatGPT without understanding AI? there are two aspects. If you want to leverage ChatGPT for your work, you don't need to understand how it works. If you want to be an expert of leveraging ChatGPT's capabilities for solving business problem, you definitely need to understand how it is working, or how the queries has to be given, or how exactly or what to ask. Can you, so that's basically the differences. Now there is a similarity. It is basically an artificial intelligence end of the day, ChatGPT. Okay, it is just, you can say, artificial intelligence with an enhanced capability. Okay, so the way I look into it, maybe I'm wrong, I need to explore understanding, even I'm learning, is that the intelligence that a kid have, the kid looks into surrounding, the kid sees that another similar looking but larger entity is walking in front of the kid. So the kid says, oh, okay, so these are the stance one should have to walk. Okay, so it tries to stand on its foot, move it. It fails initially, that eventually it learns. So it has created the mental model of the pattern itself, right? And the same kid grows up. Now it creates that walking is a muscle memory, but along with it, it has created a lot of other knowledges also. So when you talk about AI, it is the way the child learns, the computer is learning the human brain and trying to mimic it. ChatGPT is the same kid has grown up with a lot of patterned moves and everything else. So now nobody has to, now he or she don't have to look around because he has already known the knowledge of working. So that's the difference. So yes, it's a superset and it's going to stay. It may have another bigger entity surpassing it and say that ChatGPT is now part of that thing. So you will see how it moves on, maybe or may not be. But as of date, this is a like of hot cake in terms of what is happening. Predominantly because it helps a lot of Google search and then enter creating inferences for all of us. That's why it is popular mostly. But yeah, it's going to stay.
In fact, if I can just take what Dr. Shivendu has talked about Google search, let me give an example for everyone to understand how, processing, another word that he used, works. Earlier, let's say you had to do or write a essay, an article. What you used to do is, you knew basic idea of what the essay is. So you went to Google, searched similar kinds of requirements. You would have got a lot of articles. You would have read from there, picked up relevant portions of it, and then on a Word document or wherever else, you would have created your own full article or this thing. Today, if you know how to ask what kind of an article do you need, even it could be a research paper also for that matter, you go to a ChatGPT and instead of going to Google and looking at or searching 20 articles and coming out with your own essay or an article, you go to a ChatGPT and say, hey, listen, I need an article on this with these elements to be there. ChatGPT will go through all the Google pages across everywhere in the world that is available, pick up the most relevant stuff and come out with a fantastic article for yourself. I'm sure all those of you who are already using students who are using such kind of things in your academics, you'll understand what I'm saying. The ability to do it at a higher level, and like Professor Shivendu has said, how do I give the correct kind of prompts? How do I make use of the kind of processing that is available for ChatGPT? To utilize that level, you need to understand, you need to learn. It's like going through an Excel sheet. Excel everybody has. But Excel can do hundreds of things there. You need to learn Excel there. You need to go into all the commands that can be given into Excel. The more you learn, the more expert you become, the more data analyst. You can become a data analyst through using Excel sheet in that sense, which is what a Power BI is going to be, or a Tableau is going to be, or something else, which is more application oriented, making it more easier kind of things. ChatGPT is at the higher end kind of things. So you cannot get away, you cannot worry about it. The one most important thing that I would like to say before we end this, before Aparna starts off, is while you will keep learning all these things theoretically and practically too, one key thing that is very, very important for all of you is hands-on learning. And that is what is going to come through what we call it as a capstone project. Even in IIT Kanpur, even if you do an MBA, if you do a BTech, etc., there are capstone projects. Similarly, even in professional certifications, what happens is you will be exposed to a full-fledged capstone project, a project where you will really do hands-on experience and therefore learn working on that. That's what I would say. Aparna.
Correct, exactly. So along with that capstone project, you also get access to electives and masterclasses. So the academic masterclasses are conducted by IIT faculty and the industry masterclasses are conducted by IBM. So this way, you also are able to interact with experts who are actually in the field, working in the field and are closely using these tools and techniques. So you get access to all of that along with practical exposure. Right? So these are the tools that you will be learning as a part of this course. And of course, it's not just about knowing the names of these tools or knowing how to use them. It's actually about creating value for a certain business and being able to leverage these tools in order to kind of generate models that actually help make business decisions. So that's exactly what's going to happen when you do these projects as a part of the course, right? So these are some examples. Of course, you can find more of these examples on our course page. I will give you the link towards the end of the session. But just that you have capstone projects in across various domains. So one example is you could create a virtual assistant with generative AI. So all of us have used ChatGPT or Gemini, like what Ark said. So when you do a Google search, it kind of collates all information from different pages. So you could also create something like that on your own, help, and have a chatbot that can actually enable having dialogues, answer your questions and all of that. Or you could kind of automate ship detection. So if you could have, if you could prevent faulty situations resulting from human error, you could also do that with the help of this particular project, right? So with the help of these projects and these tools and the curriculum, you get that practical exposure that you said you didn't have, right? And you learn from industry best. So someone asked this question as to who our trainers are going to be. So you're going to be learning from people who are experts in this, in the industry, right? So you could take a look at their credentials, and of course, there are more details about these industry leaders on the course landing page. You could also head to their LinkedIn profiles to check, their background, right? So along with this, let me just help you understand what our learners have gone on to become, how this course has become useful for our past learners. So here you go. So there are some examples who have kind of used this, leveraged this for their career, right? So these people feel that the trainers and the course content kind of help them grow in their career. Again, you could take a look at these stories on our course page, and also remember that these learners are from diverse backgrounds. So it's not about just being from a programming background and then trying to switch to an AI/ML course. It's not necessary for you to have that if you want to become an AI or an ML engineer, or if you want to make a career in generative AI. So you could be from any industry and you could still be doing the same thing that an ML engineer in a tech company would do, right? So although a lot of people here, 40% of them are from an information technology background, you don't need that. But of course, the diversity kind of helps you understand various perspectives. Considering that most of you are freshers, these perspectives also add to that practical exposure that you said you didn't have, right? So along with projects, along with access to industry experts, these learners are also going to be adding value to you. And of course, you can also add value to the whole group by offering your perspectives and your insights about things, right? So this is about our learner profiles. Now, last but not the least, what Simplilearn does is that you have access to something known as a job assist program. Now, this job assist program is like the icing on the cake, because you get all these skills, all the necessary, whatever weapons you need to kind of build your career here, this job assist program helps you refine your job search. So you get a free IIM Jobs Pro membership for 6 months, and you get that for free. You have access to experts helping you in one-on-one interviews, helping you build your resume so that your profile is highlighted to the recruiters that you want. Of course, there's no guarantee that you will land a job, but at least you're getting the visibility and you're understanding how you can position yourself with all the skills that you gained. Okay. And the capstone projects here will kind of help you give that highlight. So a lot of people feel that because you're just a fresher, you don't have the practical experience. How am I going to land a job in a company that is my dream company? This is where the capstone projects or any of the industry masterclasses or the academic masterclasses that you attend will help you get that, right? Now, along with all of that, towards the end, after you've completed this course, you receive a certificate from ENICT Academy, like what you see here. And because there's an Azure course as well, you get a separate certificate from Microsoft Azure for that particular course. Okay, so just to summarize what you get as a part of this course, you get access to a whole diverse curriculum covering all topics of generative AI and machine learning. And then you also get access to tools. You've learned various tools like ChatGPT, DALL-E 2, Midjourney, and all of them. And along with live classes delivered by experts, you are eligible for a campus immersion program that's organized at IIT Kanpur, right? And yes, of course, the industry projects. Okay, so now that you have understood all about the course and all about the program, let us know if you would be interested in exploring the opportunity to take up this course. Now, once again, I'm going to be launching another poll asking for your interest. And I know that a lot of you have posted questions on the Q&A box. And right now, our experts will be answering those questions to you while we ask this interest. So you would be seeing people on YouTube. I see that some of you have put out your answers. So if you could also put your questions here, I will pass that on to our experts. But right now, if you're interested in enrolling in this particular course, give me a yes on the live chat and we'll have a learner contact you. Okay, so I'm going to leave this poll open. Now, Arks and Dr. Shuvendu, would you want me to summarize the questions, or are you already answering them on the Q&A box? If you need
Yeah,
my
I think we can scroll it, Aparna, but I mean, I was going through some of these questions. I think majority of the questions are on this category that I have done X course or X degree, and what kind of job will I get? Now, forget about AI/ML.
Yes.
You ask anybody else that I have done this, what kind of job I will get? Will there be anybody who will be able to answer that? Okay, you will get this, or you will be administrator officer and all these things. So if I say something, that will be a false commitment from my side. What I can really say that whatever you have done, there is one person who has said, I am a QA, quality and assurance guy, who has worked for 15 years.
Yes.
So my thing is that you have learned a domain. Even as a quality assurance, you are basically certifying functionalities of a business, whether it has been implemented into the system. If it is IT quality assurance, if it is some other quality assurance, you are basically ensuring that it is meeting the right demand, which essentially means you do understand the nitty-gritties of the demand, nitty-gritties of the requirement, client's requirement, which means that if you have done your job properly, you do understand business requirement, and which is one of the most critical factor if you want to be, for example, decision scientist. You know the business requirement is this, and business is not able to get the right answer without the help of a data or artificial intelligence.
Yes.
So that's where exactly you have to keep your eyes and then start learning from the fundamentals, as Aks was saying. So you just cannot be a decision scientist without skipping the fundamentals. Fundamentals are most important, then the bifurcations is happening. Again, the same point, irrespective of whatever you have done, if you really want to land a space where maximum number of jobs are being created, you will have to learn data scientist or artificial intelligence, the foundation of it, different tools and applications. So it doesn't also matter to be, because in this call, whether it is Simplilearn or any other platform or anything else, you will have to learn. we do have a structure, as I can understand, because of the industry projects. So this is the best thing, that you start it. If you really want to see that only somebody tells me that if I do this and I will get a 25 lakhs job, then only I will do. And if one can go in the market and say that that person has given me a commitment that I will give me 25 lakhs job, so that's what I'm doing, I will resign from my job. Point here is that whatever is your doubt, you will have to start somewhere, and you will not get a better place to start along with your future career aspiration. You might be doing masters, you might be working. You utilize your spare time, you invest your spare time, and try to understand what you, when you register for a certification. Often many of us look at it as a cost. The way I look into it as an investment.
Correct.
Okay. So if you look into an investment and you're not investing to anything, anyone else, you are investing to yourself. I can assure you that if you are focused enough, if you are confident enough, and if you are ready to take the challenges, you will definitely land up of a job which will be far, far better than what you would have landed if you were not updated.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I can just add to this. At IIT Kanpur, we have about 1,000 BTech students who graduate every year.
Yeah.
There are people, whether you like it or not to hear this, people who get only 6 lakhs per annum jobs. There are people who get 10, 12 lakhs. There are people who get 15, 17 lakhs. A lot of people get 20 to 30 lakh jobs. And a few of them get 50 lakhs plus jobs per annum too. And one or two of them get a 1 crore jobs. Now, please understand, like, I'm just reiterating what Dr. Savendu has said. It's impossible to say, भाई कितना job, कितने का पैसा मिलेगा मुझे. ऐसा पैसा नहीं होता है. You please learn. And certifications are for specifically upskilling. That's what we are trying to do. We are not saying that we will definitely give you a job, or we'll even help you get a job. What we are trying to do is, these are essential skills.
Yes.
Not doing it is actually going to be worse off. So go ahead and do it. Now, I'm not even saying that you have to come to an AICT academy and with a Simplilearn only you do it. But these are some things which are going to be absolutely essential. Given that some of you are just with less than 5 years experience, you're talking about a 30-year career in front of you. The more skills you learn, the transformation of your career will happen only when you learn skills. If you are stagnant, your salaries also will be stagnant, and sometimes you might even lose jobs. That's the only thing that we can really, really tell you.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, Aks, since you raised the point, I think it is much easier for me to answer is that if you don't do this now, what you are going to miss in the next 1.5 years. So it is much easier to answer that you will possibly lose out of the opportunities. You will possibly feel that I am obsolete. But most importantly, whether you don't feel or not, any of those things, you will definitely feel ये कर लेना चाहिए था.
That's true. That's true. So I think that answers a lot of questions here. All of the questions that were about transition. Should I take this? Should I take this up? Will this be a right career path? Now, again, from a very layman's perspective, from a neutral standpoint, purely from a non-technical, non-expertise answer. See, let's say you want to take up a career in AI and ML, and you're looking at opportunities already. Let's say your peers have taken up these opportunities already and they're into full-time jobs. Just try to understand what their journey has been. And of course, there is a huge skill gap, which is why you're pondering on this decision as to whether you should take this course or not. Try to understand what you can do to bridge that skill gap rather than thinking about whether you'll be successful in this attempt to get a job here, get a job there, or XYZ peers, they've got so many jobs in as an AI ML engineer in these companies, but I couldn't get that. So just try to identify that skill gap rather than trying to compare yourself, saying, oh, okay, this is the salary, I couldn't match this. So think about the learning, think about how you will be a better person at the job rather than thinking about just the salary bit or just thinking about the job in absolute sense, right? So that's just to close on what Dr. Shuvendu and Ark said. So with that, I think most of our questions are answered. Okay, yes, the fee of the course will be there on the course landing page. And also remember, you will be contacted by a learning advisor if you have given a yes. So we've not really mentioned the fee here. The best person to answer this question is your learning advisor. Just a quick update on the next cohort. So the next cohort starts on the 26th of October is when the actual classes start, and the 12th of October is when you have the induction class. So quick 3 steps for you is that, let me just share the QR code. So this is the QR code to the course page. So if you just scan this QR code from your phone, you will find that there's a small form that opens up. You fill that application form, you give your details, make sure you give accurate email and phone number. Once that happens, and you will be directed to an application form. So fill that application, fill in your college details, your graduation details, all of that. And then you will be contacted by a learning advisor. Once that happens, your application is screened. And if you are through, you will receive a confirmation email. Once you pay the fee is when your admission is confirmed. Okay, so that's how the whole process of application happens. Do not worry about these steps. These steps are just for you to fill in your details, and the application will take you hardly 5 minutes to complete. It's just about getting a hang of what your profile is and what your career goals are. That is the reason we have an application. Okay, if you have specific questions to ask about this course, you could reach out on askus@simplilearn.net. Or if you answer on the poll, let's say you've answered a yes on the poll, you will be contacted by a learning advisor. Okay. So here is where you can scan the QR code and look at the course details. All that we mentioned about course curriculum, about the skills you will learn, about the tools you will learn, all the highlights that we mentioned, along with the learner profiles, the program advisor profiles, you will find it on the landing page, including the class schedule. Okay, and of course the detailed curriculum, detailed description on what our topics are going to be. Yeah, so I think we have addressed all questions. There's just one person who wants to understand whether AI will really replace humans. I mean, Dr. Shuvendu, if you could just take that.
We will see, Aparna. I don't really that to happen.
Very, very, very interesting question. But frankly speaking, we hope that AI will not replace humans. But it's like a tool. AI is a tool, friends. Don't worry too much about it.
See, the fact is that a human is asking this question to a human is, as of now, the proof that it has not replaced.
A great answer, yes, obviously. And we are the people who are going to be using tools like ChatGPT or any GenAI tool. So, that I think that answers the question there. Anyway, thanks so much for your time, Dr. Shuvendu and Arks. It was wonderful hosting this session along with you. And thanks everyone else for joining in. I think people are now restless for their certificates. So before we let you go, Dr. Shuvendu and Arks, we would just take a little poll on how they enjoyed the session. Okay, so I'm just going to launch another poll that would help them rate us as to how satisfied you are with the content and delivery of the session. If you could just give us a rating on the poll that we just launched, it'll be great. So any closing thoughts you have, both of you, Dr. Shuvendu or Arks?
No, I think they are more worried about how when the session will be over. So too much closing thoughts, you're is going to give a bad rating. But yeah, I mean, so my suggestion is that don't worry about what you will do, what will end up and all these things. Just start it, invest it, and believe me, the investment is very minimal as compared to how much you invest time in either watching Netflix or something else. So please do that.
Yeah.
Especially for freshers, don't wait till you get a confirmation from anyone. Just start writing, start reading, start understanding. So that will be my recommendation.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anything you want to convey, Arks?
I will say the same thing. In fact, what Dr. Shuvendu has said. Friends, you need to make a differentiator for your own self.
Yeah.
You cannot be an also-ran. There are thousands of engineers, there are thousands of degree, in fact, lakhs of degrees graduates.
Yes.
The people who are going to make good in their careers and lives are people who are constantly learning, constantly upskilling, and ensuring that they are at the front of the curve. That's all. And for that, whether IIT Kanpur, all the institutes, faculty members, and organizations like Simplilearn and everybody else are really looking at it. It's not just about business. It's also kind of the only where is value given to you is when you will come back to these kind of things on a regular basis. And we wish you all the very best for that.
Yeah,
Thank you
all the
so
very
much.
best from my side also.
Thank you so much, Dr.
So
Shweta.
show us the rating if it's how good, bad, ugly it is.
Yes, I am. I'm just going to end the poll. No, most of them have rated us 4 and 5, so which means they really liked our insights.
That's
The sessions.
motivational.
It's actually
So much.
great. Great. Thank you so much. And one more update for our learners is that you could also fill in your full name now. A lot of you have put, Q&A.
We will take a call, this thing, Aparna then. Dr. Suvendu
Yes.
also will have to go.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
have another call. Yeah, thanks,
Yes,
Aparna.
yes,
Thanks,
yes.
everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shwendu and thank you so much. The learners, please stay back. Obviously, you would need your certificate. So please fill in your full name and as to how you would want it on the certificate here. Please fill in your full name on the poll that we just launched. Okay? Yeah. If you don't fill this, the problem is that you would have to email us separately and then the back and forth would happen. So I suggest that whoever is here, all the 100 of you who are here, please fill in the poll. I'm going to leave it open for a while. People watching us on LinkedIn, you could reach out to us on webinars@simplilearn.net for the certificate. Now, people asking us for the recording, you will receive that on the email along with the certificate. Okay, sorry. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if there are any more questions that you have to ask, please kindly put them on the chat. I'm just going to leave the chat open for a while. The Q&A box, unfortunately, we won't be able to take any more questions there. But anything that you would want to convey, the poll is on your screen, Nikhil. So you would find an option called poll. Certificate you should receive in the next couple of days. Here you go. I'm also giving you the QR code for the poll. Yeah. Okay. So if you scan this QR code, you will be directed to the poll where you can fill in your name. Okay. Yes. Okay. That's your closing thought. Thank you, Aditya, for just summarizing the whole conversation. Humans can't be replaced. That's true. Okay. People who are putting their names on the chat, please put it on the poll, not on the chat. We will not be able to record these conversations. We do not save your chat messages. Please put it on the poll. The fee structure, Ashish, will be shared to you by the learning counselor. So if you have given your interest in the course, you will be contacted by them, or you can also go to the course page and fill in your details to be contacted. Okay, if you guys are giving me these names, we will not be able to save them. Remember, I'm just closing the chat box down because remember, you will have to give it on the poll only, right? Anyway, thank you so much for joining in. I will be bringing you another session very, very soon. Until then, I hope whatever you learned today, you're going to take back and then use these learnings and apply them on your upskilling journey. Thank you so much. Thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.